Hello, everyone. Welcome to LexTalk, World Talk Show presented by Creators. Today, we have one of the best luminaries of the legal world with us, Dr. Lalit Bhasin. I'm sure everyone is already familiar with this name. He is the immediate past president of the Bar Association of India, president of Society of Indian Law Firms, chairman of Chartered Institute of Arbitrators, India, honorary life member, International Bar Association, chairman of Confederation of Indian Industry, that's CII. And I can go on and on, of course, and there is nobody who's going to watch this interview who doesn't know about his journey and is not aware about his awards and achievements. But to name a few, he has been awarded, Doctor of Laws, LLD, from Honoris Causa by Jaipur University in 2013. He has been awarded the Plaque of Honour by the Prime Minister himself in 2002 for outstanding contribution to the rule of law. And in 2007, the President of India presented National Law Day Award to him. Without any further ado, let me just introduce you to the man himself, Dr. Lalit Bhasin. Hello, sir. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you very much for your very gracious introduction. Thank you.
It's a pleasure, sir. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. And I'm sure, just like me, everybody would want to know about your journey, about your legal journey, which has been really long and rewarding at the same time. And you are actually an inspiration to a lot of people in the legal space, most of them. So if you can please share that with us.
Yeah, thank you. It has been 60 years now since I started my law practice way back in 1962. And before I became a student of law, I was doing my graduation course in one of the most prestigious institutions, that is Hindu College, Delhi University, from where I graduated in History Honours. And from there, then I went to do my law and completed my legal studies in the year 1962 and started my practice. But you see, it was not the first choice that I should become a lawyer. And the reason is very, not very palatable to some people, because my father was a very successful lawyer and he was practicing in the Supreme Court and in various high courts, including high courts of Jammu and Kashmir. But that was like a disincentive to me because I could never imagine myself working so hard as he did, so laboriously. You see, he used to go through the case files, used to work till about midnight and then appear. So I thought, you see, that I can never be a good lawyer like him. So I must look for some other opportunities. And I did try, but I failed. Therefore, law came, you see, law practice came as a last resort for me. But by hindsight, I can say that it was a good choice because I have tried to do something in the field of law. And the introduction that you gave, that shows that some sort of a recognition has been given, you see, to my law practice. So once I started, then it was again a very hard journey. One has to rub shoulders, you see, in the district courts. At that time, there was no air conditioning of the courts, in the heat and in cold, going to the Tisazari courts, that was the only district court we had, or going to the labor courts and so many. And then gradually recognition came when I started appearing in the High Court, Delhi High Court. And that was the time when my association with the corporate world started, with my being recognized by the Oberoi group of hotels, and by no less a person than the old man who's the father of the hospitality industry, Rai Bahadur M.S. Oberoi. So he entrusted to me, you see, some of the legal work. And then when he thought that I am the right person, he reposed his full confidence in me and gave me a free hand in running the legal affairs of this vast and emerging group of hotels under the brand name of Oberoi Group. And then, of course, there was no turning back from the High Court. Then I shifted my practice simultaneously to the corporate work, just signing agreements with multinational companies outside for the Oberoi Group, helping them to set up their hotels virtually all over the world. So that gave me a lot of exposure, not only just in the domestic Indian law, but also so far as the international law and international transactions are concerned. And that was the start of my journey. And then, of course, cases in the Supreme Court, and then more clients and more clients came. So one, say after putting in about 30 years of hard work, one could get the rewards, then being recognized not only by the peers, but also by international organizations like the International Bar Association, by the Inter-Pacific Bar Association, Law Asia, then of course in the domestic field, the Bar Association of India, and then I set up the Society of Indian Law Firms way back in the year 2000, and it is one of the most respected institutions and organizations in the country. So that is my journey of the last 60 years in the profession. A hard one, but then eventually very rewarding one.
Rightly said, Dr. Bhasin, and thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. I've already mentioned that in my introduction that you are an inspiration to a lot of people, actually, most of them in the legal space. And I'm going to ask you a really unfair question. Please forgive me for that, because in like the kind of experience that you have, it's very difficult to just come up with one complex legal issue that you might have worked on, right? It's very difficult, especially I'm sure all the cases are very dear to you that you have handled so far. But if you can throw light on just one of them and any of the complex issues, if that's not too much to ask.
Yeah, you see, because since the span of my law practice is 60 years, it is very difficult to select just one case, because say in every decade you had some milestone case in the first 10 years, and the next 10 years, and the next 10 years, and all that. But what is remarkable is some case in the field of when I started my law practice, the first case or the first client I got was my postman. You see, he used to deliver that time the dark. The mail used to come. It used to be hand delivered by the postman, unlike the system that you have today. He had some personal case that he had given some money to someone. That person refused. So he came to me and he said, "Sir, this is the problem. Can you help me?" I said, "Of course, I'll send a legal notice." And I sent a legal notice, you see, to the other side. And fortunately, that other side felt some merit in the legal notice, and they immediately responded and paid him, you see, the full money with some interest. And then he came to me. He says, "Sir, now I can pay your fee." I said, "Doesn't matter. It is all right. You have got your money." It was only about, I took a token fee. He said, "No, you must take." So I took a token fee of rupees 110 at that point of time. I believe that was a good beginning. Then, of course, as the practice grew, one had some very monumental and important cases, particularly in the field of labor laws, where the question was, what constitutes an industry? Is a charitable organization an industry where there is no manufacturing activity going on? Is an organization like Bharat Sevak Samaj is that an industry? So an employee of that Bharat Sevak Samaj came to me. His services were illegally terminated by Bharat Sevak Samaj. So the question arose whether Bharat Sevak Samaj is subject to the labor laws of the country, whether they are an industry as defined under the Industrial Disputes Act. So I fought that case for that employee right from the labor court, then to the high court, firstly the single judge, then the division bench. And fortunately, we succeeded. And that was a historic judgment given by Delhi High Court that Bharat Sevak Samaj is an industry, particularly for the purposes of for the labor laws. And then eventually it went on, and then the transactional work came in. The transactional work, I take credit, you see, for these joint venture agreements, which for the Oberoi group of hotels I introduced and I drafted for the first time, possibly by any Indian lawyer. So that was also a very satisfying experience that the Indian hospitality industry was recognized outside India, and the agreements were in a way drafted by me. And of course, there were the lawyers on the other side who made their contributions to those drafts. And eventually in the Supreme Court, we were appearing, you see, for the party which provided the software for the Aadhaar card. So that was a big victory where you see the Supreme Court upheld in the favor of our client and other clients, while declaring that yes, privacy has to be maintained. But the Aadhaar card, you see, there is nothing wrong in it. It does not offend the privacy of any person. So that was like a landmark judgment.
As I was mentioning, it's difficult to quote a few from so many cases. But thank you so much for sharing a couple of cases with us. Now, Dr. Bhasin, you have seen so much in the legal space. As you were talking about your first case that you took, that was of your postman, and he used to deliver everything. But now you see everything has become so technical, especially in the past 2 years. The courts have gone virtual, and we never thought that could happen. So pandemic has seen all these things. Do you think this is like sustainable and like a possible way to increase the access to justice? What's your view on it?
You see, we tend to view these things in the background of the pandemic, that it is because of pandemic that there has been some technology which has been brought into the court system. But that is not correct. Technology was being brought in, was being introduced in a very systematic, gradual manner in our system of administration of justice by e-filing, which is called the e-filing, which facilitates, you see, parties don't have to go physically and you do everything e-filing and all that. But to say that technology will ever substitute the physical hearings, I don't think that is either possible or even it is desirable. I say that for one reason. When you talk of the courts, you are only talking about, because you are not a lawyer in that sense, you are talking about what you read in the papers.
Right.
You come to know from various that yes, Supreme Court, you see, is having virtual hearings. The high courts have virtual hearings. People, and now the hybrid hearings are going on. But has anyone applied one's mind to what is happening in the district courts all over the country? We have hundreds and hundreds of district courts which are there, where the lawyers may not even have a mobile phone, where what to talk of technology. So the 95% of the legal population, lawyers, they are in the districts. So technology has not brought any improvement, you see, in their working systems. Yes, in the high courts, in the metro cities, big cities, technology has played a significant role. But it has not brought justice, you see, to those litigants who are spread out all over in four corners of our country in the various small districts where they expect justice, but justice is not being delivered because of the huge pendency of the cases. Therefore, technology, yes, it is important. Try to bring in, but it can never be, in India, it can never be a substitute for physical hearing. Therefore, our attempt should be not to bring technology from top to bottom, that we start with Supreme Court, then High Court, and then go down. No, if you have to really talk about technology, it has to start from the district level, from the district courts. Try to give them, you see, the entire technological equipment. They don't have laptops or the desktops, you see, or computers and all those things. They don't have. They don't have access to that. Therefore, that it has to start from there, not from top to bottom. It has to be from bottom to the top eventually. But in India, we had the other way around.
Absolutely, so absolutely. I completely agree with you. I never looked at it that way till the time you told me, because you're right. I'm not a lawyer, so I only see things in the newspaper and I just read that. But
no, even lawyers may not think that way, because people, you see, when I talk of lawyers, I mean that lawyers practicing in Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai, they are all very comfortable, as I am now comfortable talking to you on my laptop. So
right.
we also appear before the courts like that. But the same is not true with regard to the either the litigants or the lawyers who are practicing at the district court level.
Yes, absolutely. So, absolutely. And since we kind of talked about the access to justice and the other things, how would you rate the current legal system's drive towards encouraging the access to justice? And do you think is there like a tangible movement in closing the entire justice gap?
You see, I believe there has been a virtual breakdown of our system of the administration of justice. Everyone is talking openly, including our Chief Justice of India, that there are more than 4 crore cases which are pending in all over the country. Therefore, who is getting justice? We read in the newspaper some important matters, say pertaining to some temples or mosques and all that. But what about, you see, the cases of ordinary litigants who are fighting for their rights, for their privileges? It is a fight of survival for them. But those cases continue to be pending for decades and decades. These days, we have cases which come up, which were you see, filed or initiated in year 1980s or 1990s and all that. And therefore, it has broken down. System has broken down. And the only way to curb is to 3-4 bullet points, which I can give you, is that we have too many laws. We have obsolete laws. We have ill-drafted laws. We have overlapping laws. Therefore, what is required to be done is a rationalization of laws, reduce those, eliminate those laws which are obsolete, and have proper application of mind. And don't bring in new laws, because if you bring in new laws, then there'll be more disputes. There'll be, of course, more work for lawyers, but it is bad for the country, you see, bad for the economy of the country. And then government is the largest litigant in this country. 60-70% cases pertain to government and the instrumentalities of state. Therefore, they can take, you see, a decision in their wisdom not to encourage or promote litigation. If some decision comes against them, It is not necessary you must go in appeal and then challenge it and all those things. Therefore, government has to bring about this change in the mindset of the people, and that would also reduce, you see, the pendency of huge pendency of the cases which are there now. And unless that is done, I think it is a lip service to the cause of administration of justice. Virtually, there is no justice. There is only law. And our constitution says that we people of India give unto ourselves justice, which is social, economic, political. That is the preamble. It lays emphasis on justice. It does not lay emphasis on law, because law means technicalities. So we have to revert back, you see, to the old system which has been there since ancient times of consensual form of administration of justice, which was there when we had our panchayats, which were there when we had our Zilla Parishads. And now we are, as legal professionals, and I, as the head of the Bar Association of India, tried to do, and I'm trying to do in the Society of Indian Law Firms, to promote mediation, settlement of dispute, samjhauta, do samjhauta, because a bad settlement is better than successful litigation. That is the message I want to give to people.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this insight with us, Dr. Bhasin. Now, talking about tribunalization of justice, what are your views on this, Dr. Bhasin?
It's a very important topic for discussion, because as I said earlier, that we try to bring in new laws.
Right.
With new laws, you see, there are new tribunals or new commissions or new fora which come into existence, which of course provide employment, you see, to the retired judges and some bureaucrats and all that. But it also dilutes the efficacy of justice and law, because dispensation of justice is the function of the courts of law, which our constitution recognizes. Our setup of the judicial system, you have the district courts at the district level, then you have the high courts at the state level, and at the Supreme Court, you see, you have the highest court of the land. Any type of legal dispute should actually be going to the courts and not to the tribunals, because they don't have that sort of expertise in delivering, you see, good judgments which can stand the scrutiny of law, or which can do justice to the people of the country. So these days we have tribunals galore, and there again, there is huge pendency. So they have failed to serve the purpose for which they were set up. Whether it is the labor courts, whether it is the consumer fora, whether it is the telecom, everywhere, wherever you have set up, you see the new tribunals, it is an exercise in futility, total waste, you see. And what needs to be done is that the infrastructure of the court system should be improved. There should be more judges. There should be more physical premises for courts to have their sitting. There should be proper supporting staff. And of course, the technology, latest technology can be put in use to make the court system more effective and more accessible. Therefore, going to tribunal is not the way. This tribunalization of justice is creating a lot of harm, you know, to the cause of justice.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bhasin, once again for answering that question and sharing your views on the same. Also, we have already touched on it, but if you can also enlighten us on how can we reform the legal system and make it a bit more effective, And when we talk about the other global standards, what are your views on this when we compare everything together?
You see, you can reform the system if you reform our system of education. It is legal education, wherein you see we have to bring in the latest contemporaneous developments which are taking place all over the world, so that our law students, particularly in the final years of their study, they become familiar not just with the technology, but also with what is happening in other jurisdictions. Therefore, legal education has to be improved. And that is where we are totally lacking. We have very good institutions like the national law schools, which are really examples of good legal education. We also have private institutions like Symbiosis, Amity, and uh, so many other organizations. But majority of the law schools, they do not even have a proper infrastructure, but they have been licensed to impart legal education. And that is where we have failed altogether. We need institutions like the Jindal Global Law School, where you see we come to know that yes, this is what is happening in US, because they bring the faculty from law schools of overseas to India. Therefore, to have good legal system, the foundation has to be very sound and strong. And that is where we are lacking. Therefore, legal education, which is the responsibility of the Bar Council of India, I think should be given top priority. And government must step in to provide the infrastructure to set up good law schools, and they should be recognized as such. So therefore, legal system can be improved, but the foundation has to be laid in the law schools.
Basically, a bit more exposure should be given, unlike you were talking about an institute, where people get to know about different jurisdictions as well. So that exposure is important. Thank you so much. Sadly, we are coming to an end of this amazing conversation and insightful conversation. But before I let you go, Dr. Bhasin, if there is any advice that you would like to give to the budding lawyers who are maybe in the last year of their college, or maybe they are they've just started their journey, anything that you would like to tell them?
Yeah, you see, there are opportunities galore for the law students who will complete their studies. They can be good litigation lawyers. They can be good corporate lawyers. They can go for being an in-house counsel to multinational companies. They can be very good jurists by becoming law teachers, which is uh, which is very important, you see, to have good law teachers. And then they can represent some NGOs and all that. But the essential feature is that there are no shortcuts in this profession. This is a very jealous profession. It is like a jealous mistress, you see, that you can't have anything else. If you are a lawyer, you have to give top priority, even at the expense of, you see, your family sometime, because you have to burn the midnight oil. These days, people work till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the night, because they have to talk, you see, to their counterparts in the US or in Japan or other places. So there is no shortcut, and it is a jealous profession. You have to give your whole full-time attention. And I marvel, you see, at the young ladies who are doing law, that how they manage, which I don't think we men can manage that way, because it is very important for them not just to be good lawyers, but also to be good daughters, good sisters, good wives, good mothers, and devote time, you see, to making a home, and not just remain in the office, But that is where I pay tribute, you see, to the ladies who are in the profession, how they manage it, and they manage it so well, which we people as men, we can't do it. They they are becoming now their talent is being recognized. They are becoming solicitor general, assistant solicitor generals, law officers, judges in the high court, judges in the Supreme Court, senior counsel. But still, it is without sacrificing their home life or the professional life. It's a very good blending they do. And that is sort of a thing which is very commendable, which I find as a man, I can't do it, you see.
There's nothing that you can do, but I absolutely agree with you. It's a sacrificing profession as well at the same time. So, but yes, we see a lot of women also who are doing amazingly well, and thanks to the mentors and thanks to the families who have supported them in this. So, and lastly, but I mean, I have a lot of other things to ask you, but I know that you have a really hectic schedule, so we have to come to an end of this enlightening conversation, if I can call it. Thank you so much, Dr. Bhasin. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I'm really looking forward to have you in one of the conferences soon. And yeah, have some more conversations on other trending topics in the legal space, because I'm not a lawyer, but when I had a conversation with you, I got to learn a lot of other things, which were really like, you know, I was looking at all these things from a 10,000 feet level, but now I feel like I know a lot more. So thank you so much.
It was wonderful talking to you. Thank you.
Likewise, it was lovely talking to you. And to all our viewers, if you like this chat with Dr. Lalit Bhasin, please like and share this video, and do not forget to subscribe to ClickAway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do, and you have more coming from industry legal leaders like him. This is Bharti for LexTalk signing off. Take care. Bye-bye.